Hey Mario Karters and Frenzy fans, welcome to our channel.
In this episode, we have a Meet the MarioKarters, where we have a very special guest with us. We have Justin, who is probably more known to the community by Half Hydra or Hydra. Welcome to the episode.
Hi.
So we're really excited to have you. And I know that we've been kind of chatting for a little bit. We've actually talked over Discord before. This isn't the first time that we've actually, kind of like interacted, just like via voice. But it is the first time that we've seen you, at least. So we're excited that this is like kind of your face reveal. So tell us a little bit about. So I for one, I'm curious about the history behind your name.
All right. Yeah, that is a very good place to start. So I had a friend a very long time ago during my high school years, strictly online mostly, just because, there was a lot of, it was very more prominent, like I feel like a lot of people, like their high school years, like my parents' high school years were definitely very different than like anyone in my years, high school years. So I had a lot of like online friends I played games with as well, than just like my friends in general.
Yeah.
So I had a friend named Hydra. So there's something kind of funny about that, huh? But basically, I really looked up to him. He was a university student. I forgot where he lives at the moment. It was somewhere very far away, but basically, I looked up to him a lot. He had always been there for me, like when I needed to ask for like advice on how to get out of like bad situations, mostly in regards to like school stuff. But basically, he sort of not really like disappeared, but he got like really, really inactive one day. So I sort of took it upon myself. Like I was like, I should pass on like the sort of like quote unquote knowledge that he gave me.
Yeah.
I was looking for a name. I was really cut for a name one day, and I was like, gosh, I really like my friend's name, but it should be like an homage instead. So it was Half Hydra. So
I love that.
Okay.
It's like taking it with me,
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, original.
So that was his legitimate like given name at birth, was Hydra?
No, it was actually a I guess I shouldn't have left that part of the story. He told me one day that his name came from basically his professor. It was just something that kind of stuck, like they just called him Hydra, and he never told me anything more specific than that. But
okay,
very cool.
Gotcha.
That is at some point.
Yeah, no, I love it though.
No, so that's really cool. For some reason, when I first heard your name, for some reason I thought it had to do with the Marvel like universe, like the comics and the movies, where like the syndicate of like the bad guy
Hydra.
is Hydra, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to find out like what's actually behind this. But no, like this is way cool that you're kind of like paying tribute to your friend that was so influential to you that you went by that. So
I've received a lot of Hail Hydra jokes. Trust me.
Well, that's cool. Yeah. So I guess kind of along those lines, I remember when you and I first, I guess, made a connection. So we had made a video, and I don't even remember what the video was about, but you ended up...
I don't either.
You ended up commenting on one of our YouTube videos, and Frenzy Fangirl here, it was like late at night. I think I was brushing my teeth, and she was on the bed, and she was like, oh, this guy like made this comment, and his name's Half Hydra. And I stopped, and I was like, the Half Hydra?
It was really funny. He's like,
are you
like
kidding
starstruck.
me? He's like the data miner of like all data miners for Mario Kart Tour. He just commented on our video. Shut the front door. I was super excited.
He's really excited.
Totally. No, really. Like, I'm so happy I found you guys. Like you're so chill and so amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Amazing.
We try to be.
So tell us a little bit about, so here's the thing is, I guess the reason why I was so struck was because of seeing just so many people, I think on Reddit and even like other Discord servers and like Mario Kart channels, like you were just, I think, kind of one of the first ones that was very maybe consistent about data mining. And I don't know, maybe you were the one that like made it popular. I don't know if you were like one of the first ones or not, but tell us a little bit about kind of how you got into the whole like data mining scene.
Okay, so in order to sort of tell that story, there's a little bit of history. So Mario Kart Tour is made in a platform called Unity, which is a really good 3D engine for making video games, and Nintendo has utilized that in order to bring it to our phones. I have been messing, and I say messing, I mean exploring Unity-based games for a very long time now, starting since about 2016, and with a couple other games like Bloons Tower Defense 6, some people might know those. But in order to get to sort of where I am today with the data mining, I actually know exactly when it started because I just recently reorganized the entire folder of like everything I've ever done. It started in Los Angeles tour, so right before first anniversary.
Okay.
I had sort of found that people were dumping all of the banners and all of the everything for the next tour at the very start of the tour. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it sort of came to me one day. I was like, so this is a Unity game, huh? And I figured I should sort of look into that and see if I could figure out what was going on. Well, turns out it was actually sort of similar to what I had been doing all along. So you said the word consistent. That is definitely something I would use to describe it as. I had been pretty much contributing as much as I could ever since then. I think the reason why maybe like my name stands out a little bit more is just because of stuff I did later. But it started out in this one server called the Mario Kart Tour community where I sort of was part of the data mining team. There's a bunch of people that do this stuff. And they all obviously have done the amazing work for the community as they have done. So shout out to every one of them. But I was definitely one of the people who contributed there. I started doing a lot. I started getting really excited. I got really passionate about doing it every tour and like doing the best I could to display any new information we find out when there's an update. So I started basically like, and now I don't think this would have happened if there wasn't the perfect scenario to do that. There was COVID. I could technically stay up that late on Wednesdays and still be okay. I didn't have to in the morning. So there was sort of that aspect, but eventually as things moved on, I started finding like the people who had done the more extreme stuff before. So there was one guy who I found who essentially, he knew more of like the debugger stuff. He knew more of like how to really look at the game's actual code. Because a lot of what the data mining was before was getting like the images from the game. It's getting like all of the new drivers, karts and gliders, stuff like that, right? But there has always sort of been this other aspect of, okay, so there's two sides to the coin. There's the side where it's like, you can change the actual data that's given to the game. So a green shell can bounce 10 times or something silly like that, right?
Okay.
So there's that data. And then there's the part that says the green shell can bounce this many times. That's in the data. So like what most people do is this side, I do this side.
Okay.
And that is sort of what has allowed me to explore various unseen and unused concepts in the game. Definitely a lot of very interesting stuff.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so that's actually a perfect segue into this next question that I had, because you actually have a YouTube channel yourself, and I've noticed that you've been posting some really, really cool, unique videos where you kind of go into the code and you manipulate some things. Some of my favorite videos are that you've done recently are the ones where you're doing like first person driver, where you're like in the cockpit or like in the driver's seat of these Mario Kart cars and you're driving the whole entire course as if like you were like Waluigi or Mario or you know, whoever. And it's just blowing my mind. Like, so I think it's so cool.
So on a very like surface level, how do you actually do that?
So,
I know that's a complicated question, I'm sure.
It is complicated for sure. So I can just tell you for that one specifically.
Okay.
The camera has a distance parameter.
Okay.
So what happens when you decrease it? It keeps going forward. So imagine you're getting a mega mushroom. Your cart obviously increases in size. So the camera zooms out a little bit so that you can actually see and not have your entire screen be the cart.
Yeah.
So in using that same sort of parameter that allows you to zoom the cart out for different things, I basically zoomed it all the way in. And then in order to make it more immersive, I basically removed the driver from actually showing up in the game. That way you can actually see the steering wheel and a couple other things. It was mostly an homage to Mario Kart 7, where you could do like the first person driving mode, which was very exciting. I was like, I can do that. Wow.
That's amazing.
That's way cool. I love that hack. That's I remember so even like with the tricks, so you know how like the cart or whatever will like move around, like you still stay kind of there, but then like you see the cart, you know, kind of like moving all over the place and stuff. And the other really cool thing that I love about your videos is you figured out a way to be able to, during any tour at any time, like at any point in real time, you can somehow pick other tracks that aren't available in the tour. So like, for example, right now, or like recently, you've shown videos of Merry Mountain, which aren't going to be available until, you know, this next tour, that we're actually typically, or that we're actually in by the time this video is going to be posting. But yeah, so tell us about like kind of how you figured out how to be able to get your fingers into all the different courses at any point in time.
So there's two kinds of ways to do that. So the first one is replacing, so you can imagine the tour screen. You see your cups, you have each of the courses. If you replace the name of the course that's there, so like if you replace the internal ID of like what actual course is there, you can trick the game into loading a different one. You can, it's
That's
pretty
cool.
exciting. The other way to do that is actually, I found this other really like, it was a much easier method just for the video's sake, but when restarting a race, I was able to find the place that it actually like loads the course in memory.
Okay.
So I could, it's easier to do it that way is what I'm trying to say.
That's awesome. That's cool. And if you guys are interested in Hydras or Hydra's YouTube channel, we're going to link to it in the comments too. So after this one, you can go check it out and see all those cool little experiments and hacks, and it's a blast to watch.
Yeah.
It is. A lot of those videos, I just want to say real quick, are inspired by older Mario Kart hacking videos where lots of fun things like action replay codes, gecko codes for Wii, just fun stuff like that. And I'm really trying to like make it as like interesting as possible. I also want to say like I won't ever be releasing anything I do.
For sure.
It only takes like one to really open the door into the game, and then people can start giving themselves like infinite items. And I don't really think it's a good thing to do that. So
no, I appreciate your like the way that you're handling it too, where it's like I'm gonna have a fun experiment and like kind of show off like
I'll show the unused stuff. I'll show what's possible.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna leave it to you to figure out if you
right.
So you remind me a whole lot of Mankalor, and I imagine that you've actually reached out to him. You're probably fairly good friends. You've probably talked about like how to be able to do stuff in the game. I know like in the computer world, there's like black hat hacking and like white hat hacking. When I think of you and Mankalor, I think of you guys as like white hat hackers, where you're just interested, you're just passionate about the game in and of itself, and you just kind of like want to see what you can do, but in no way, shape, or form are you going to exploit like what you know how to do to try and like give you like a competitive edge. So I think that's very cool. Have you been in touch with Mankalor?
Yes. He asked me a while ago, actually, because he was really interested in because one of the first videos that I posted on my channel was actually this exploration of Vancouver, which, it's been a very long time since Vancouver's been here, but I was basically doing some other things. I was able to do a couple of things to the game, like disable the out of bounds respawn and basically allow myself to explore the track as it would be in the game.
Oh, cool.
So we can see like other paths and stuff early. And so he reached out to me one day and he was like, how do you do that? And I called him for a while. We had some interesting talks about like what's been going on with everything in terms of like Mario Kart and all that. I showed him how to do some stuff. He made some few videos with it. So that was pretty cool. But also just because like he was someone I had been watching for such a long time. And then all of a sudden he's asking me, how do I do this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can talk with him. What?
That's amazing. Yeah.
So are you friends with him in the game? Like your in-game friends list?
Actually, not right now. I had done like not like cleanse, but like because of something that happened earlier, which I'll get into a little bit later.
Okay.
I will. Yeah. So my friends list was cleared, and that'll make more sense a little bit later. But so I also just want to point something out. So there is the terms white hat and there's black hat. There's also another term called gray hat, which is sort of like as you would imagine. It's in the middle. It's someone who does the things like, okay, maybe they are giving themselves like infinite speed in the game or something like that, but they're not intending to like release it. They don't have malicious intent kind of thing.
Okay.
So that would be, I mean, that's a random technical fact, but there you go.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess in the computer world, white hat hackers are really the ones that try to hack like a certain software or a certain like platform, but then give that information to the developers to say, hey, look, like this is what you need to do. Like this is what I did, and this is what you need to focus on in order to be able to prevent the black hat hackers or gray hat.
Yes. That's correct. So. Specifically, there's actually many times people get paid for that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
Great. Is that what you're going to school for?
You know what? I am a computer science major, so hey, I might get it.
Nintendo, if you're looking to hire someone.
If you need a white hat hacker, reach out to Hydra. That's awesome.
But yeah, hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about like, do you have some side projects that like might not have to do with like direct manipulation of the game, but maybe like some programs or something that you do to kind of help like maybe your strategy out?
Yes, actually. It also reminds me that I kind of forgot to mention something that's very, very important earlier about like sort of the whole data mining process.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is something super duper important every tour that I do, mostly like sometimes for my own projects, but mostly for others now, since I was able to help and make that more useful. A long time ago, that same hacker that I mentioned who I saw and was like, he did the more debugger stuff, he did the more like code stuff. Yeah. He was dumping, so he was outputting basically a JSON, which is just a bunch of compiled data of every single item in all of their preferred courses. And you might imagine how that's helpful for things like spreadsheeters and a bunch of other people who just kind of want to see and get a hold of that data and see like all this other stuff. So the motivation for why I wanted to be able to do that myself was because I had seen this other guy do it. But he wasn't really around as much anymore. So I wanted to really figure that out myself. The motivation for that was actually a project of mine. Now, this project was something I worked on very, 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 very long time ago.
Okay.
And hopefully you can see that now.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
nice
cool.
And big.
So I'll be straight up. This is really old. There's a lot of things wrong with this here. So there's like the text is like overlapping now. There's probably some update in the browser. You know, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So the problem statement was essentially that there was no way for you to see when I open up a character's menu, you can see that there is a bunch of courses here, but you can't really see what else is on those courses. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it so that I could see all of these courses all at once.
Yeah.
So I can see, oh gosh, I already have Donkey Kong here and King Bob-omb. I probably shouldn't level up Gold Bones. So those kinds of decisions I really wanted to make.
Yeah.
Now, this was also before I had figured out that many people in the community were making a lot of spreadsheets that also do a lot of this work for you. But this was definitely, I wanted to make a more visual approach to this.
For sure.
So you can see here, it maybe would help you make some decisions like, oh, I want to level up the Comet Tail at some point. Maybe I shouldn't level up the White Turbo Yoshi. Those kinds of things that I wanted to do way back when. And this was almost a year ago, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
This is
I had,
awesome, by the way.
yeah,
This-
I'm really proud of this, honestly, just because of the way, like, it actually looks pretty good too. And this
Yeah.
is the middle shelf. Yeah. I honestly was considering maybe just making it just the top shelf at one point, but that's a side tangent.
yeah.
The whole problem statement was, well, this feeds off of the data given from that JSON. So it has everyone's items and all of their courses and all of the different stats about the characters. And I really needed that. So I sort of took it to myself. I did what I could. I had enough sort of prior knowledge and ahead of time with Unity games in order to be able to try to figure this out myself. And I was already a web developer, so I could make the JSONs myself just as I knew how to interpret them. So that's what happened. I ended up figuring out how to do this thanks to some help.
That's awesome.
Looks amazing.
Yeah. So I remember, I think it was, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 tours ago. What was that tour where we had the all the new carts? It was the B-Dasher carts, I think.
Yeah.
And
That's encouragement.
and I remember listening to Tabor on the rundown with Studfit. And he's like, oh my gosh, I think there were like over 300 like new like buffs for all the different things that were new to the game, like that tour. And he's like, it took me so long. It was so ridiculous. And this was right after you and I had met.
Yeah.
And we chat with Tabor on Discord. We're in his fantasy football league that he's completely dominating right now.
Yeah.
But I was like, I wonder if Justin has a way to be able to like, maybe like write like a script or something and be able to send Tabor the information that he's looking for, that I think he was doing like manually. He was like opening up every single item in the game and manually like processing the data. And so I think, I got you two in touch, and one day I get a message from Tabor who's like, there's this guy named Justin on Discord that reached out to me. Thank you for getting me in touch, because he's like totally made my life way more simple from here on out. So
Yep.
Are you still in touch with him? Are you helping him out with like the rundown stats and all that stuff?
Of course. I do my part anyway. So that actually is you made a perfect segue into the next sort of thing. So I had started dumping everything, right? But I realized after doing it for a few months, maybe it was a little while, that no one was really able to use the JSON format who maybe wanted to use it the most, because most of the people who would really benefit from this were spreadsheet creators.
Yeah.
And so at the start of, actually around when you had messaged me about Tabor having to do that, I was already working on making some stuff that would help generate CSVs and other things that they could just put into their spreadsheet to help them manage all 300 of those individual lines that they would have to add to all the buffs. And man, I've been thanked so many times for how many hours that this has saved, and I'm so happy to do it every tour. It takes me, the way that I wrote the script to do that, it takes me like 5 minutes, and that's it. No more opening up the items every time. I did it myself a few times, so I know the pain and I know what goes into it. So I'm so happy to help anyone else not have to do that literally manual labor.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So anyway, so I think so many people in the community, whether they know it or not, they are super duper appreciative of you for helping out like so many other YouTubers and so many other, like I think that there's probably some other people that provide spreadsheets that you probably feed them like the base data for their spreadsheets that probably hundreds if not thousands of people use. And it's I guess what I'm trying to get at is it's so cool that that you're able to help so many people that aren't even aware that you're the one that's really kind of able to facilitate so much of the goodness that's being provided to the community. So we're glad to have you on right now to be able to be like, hey, look, like this is the guy that's actually helping so many people out with their strategy, with their metadata, like with their meta level strategy. A lot of content creators are using your stuff. So like it's not overset at all when I say that you are the man. Yeah. So
thank you. I appreciate it a lot. Honestly, I'm not even really sure. There were 3 main people that I know of who I've helped with specifically for their spreadsheets. But every tour, I sort of released in the public a very sort of generic one that has like all of the lines with all of them. It's not really formatted any specific way, like maybe it would have for someone else's specifically, but it should really, really help anyone trying to take the new intake of data. Oh gosh, it's so much all at once.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's just what makes me really happy. I don't really care about like people knowing my name or anything like that. I'm just happy that I get to help so many people by proxy and help, it's just really nice.
Yeah, that's
I'm so
awesome.
happy that I get to help.
We really appreciate people like you in the community that are just willing to share your talent freely and just share the goodness. And it's just really admirable that
Thank you.
that you're like that, willing to share so much. So
absolutely.
Again, we thank you. Tabor thanks you.
Right.
So many people thank you. So many people aren't even aware that they need to thank you, but they do. So so cool. So are there any other projects or like anything else that helps you, like a tool that you've made that kind of helps you with your like particular game strategies, like how you play the game yourself?
Not really. You see, this was also sort of the point in time where I discovered the spreadsheets, which honestly can probably do a lot more of this stuff. And those are really good for just getting like the data. The only reason why I sort of made this in the first place, this tool here, was because I wanted like a very visual representation. It could be argued that there are just some things that maybe like a spreadsheet can't capture. Like maybe you don't know like what items that you don't have yet, what might be on a course that you're going to want, or something like along those lines. I'm not sure. All I know is it meant so much back in the day. Not as much anymore, but
Yeah. Well, cool. So like, what are some of your goals, I guess, with the game? Have you, I imagine that you've been playing long enough that you're probably not too worried about like 100% coverage with like drivers, carts, and gliders. I don't know like what tier you're in. Have you shot for like a ACR before? Like, tell us where you're at in the game.
In order to do that, I guess I should just sort of go over like the history of me in the game.
Totally.
So, I've been playing since day 1 of launch, of course. I've always been super duper excited about the game. I was like, oh my gosh, I can finally play Mario Kart on my phone. Like I'd even been looking for that when I was like really young, when only things like a couple other racing games on the phone existed, like Angry Birds Go, a couple other things.
Right.
So as you can imagine, I was really excited to find Mario Kart Tour was coming to mobile. Ever since I played day 1, I actually got ACR once during that. And that was super duper exciting. It was during the Sunset Tour, which was early November of, I believe, 2020.
Okay.
So during that time, I played so much. I even, as everyone knows, a lot of people make a second account, just to kind of see like, oh, what's my luck going to be like if I had another account or something along that line. So I had that for a little while. And this was the sort of time that I started really getting into like the whole like, oh, I can start like playing around with the game and like discovering stuff maybe that I wasn't seen before. So I was exploring the different frenzy parameters one day. So just to give a little context, I guess, I had been using an alternate account, of course, for this for like the longest time. I was not going to touch any hacks or anything on my main account. There was no way. I was mostly out of fear that I would get banned or something like that.
Right.
And of course, that is a very real fear. I'd seen it happen before to other people who might have been doing things like that. So I was a little bit worried. So after a while, it got really, really annoying to have to log in and out of both accounts on my device. And so I decided one day I was just not going to do that. with a very good superstition in mind or not superstition, just a very good idea in my mind that as long as I don't play the Rank Cup, I won't get banned. And I'm pretty sure no one will be impacted by that. And I'm not going for ACR, so this is not going to ruin anything. So I started exploring like stuff like the frenzy parameters and a couple other things just to see like what's actually possible. At one point I made like 64 different coins rotate around your cart because of the frenzy, and it was actually really funky. It took forever for it to like cash in every coin so that the frenzy could end, which I didn't, that wasn't something I thought would happen, but it was really interesting to see. Anyway, back to the point. So I got a little bit arrogant one day. I was like, okay, everything should be fine, right? And it was actually that same frenzy parameter messing with that actually was my downfall. So as long as I quit the race first, it should be fine, right? Because the race is not saved. There's no harm done. So I made the mistake one day of accidentally going into the ranked cup course because I thought it was the other airship fortress.
Yeah.
And it turns out it was pretty much dead set. I got banned. I did that on the Thursday and I got banned the next Monday. It was really, really, really sad. I was like, oh my God, no.
Yeah.
It was awful.
And this was like your main account, right?
Yeah, it was my main account because I had gotten like really lazy and like it never was a problem. I had been doing this for months, and then the one time I slipped up and it's like, no, I'm never doing that ever again. Oh my God.
So are you a free-to-play player then, or did you like lose any finances in that?
I always bought Gold Pass.
Yeah.
I bought some of the commemorative cards. Like I definitely bought the Sunset Cloud that tour.
Yeah.
The ban actually came later, by the way. So that was sometime in February. So that was, it was a lot later. But
yeah,
I had been playing the alt account actively. So when I got banned, of course, I moved to my alt as my main.
Yeah.
Buying Gold Pass again. I got the subscription from my main to there. It wasn't like as demeaning as starting from ground zero.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
So you weren't able to recover. You weren't able to plead forgiveness.
I wasn't. It was, it's kind of hopeless. Like, it's kind of funny because the place that I would have been able to do that is inside the app. It's always kind of funny to me that the support is inside of the app. So if you're having a problem logging in, you can't get to the support. Log in. So that was always something kind of funny to me. Anyway, like, if think about it, like, what? Anyway, so you probably send an email or something, but like, it would be a lot easier to just use the in-game one. But other than that, I got sort of my feet back off the ground again. It wasn't as demeaning, of course, just because I had like a lot of high ends already from just playing the tours. Never making that mistake again.
Yeah.
I definitely played a lot more relaxed, though, I will say.
Yeah.
Until a certain point was reached that I could actually play competitively. So it was, my account right now is actually still pretty low level because when I was playing super duper chill, I always played like just the tour. It was also because I was starting to like get back in the swing of senior year. It was a lot more important to do stuff during school during that time. So,
Sure.
I would say that just to sort of close out the story here, I'm doing pretty well again. There are some points in time where I'm like, oh gosh, if I'm not going to be able to escape my tier range. I'm currently tier 57. And I'm kind of stuck in that range just because, there is still like that huge disadvantage of like players versus launch and, anyone who's played now. Like, even though the game has been a little bit more generous with high ends and stuff ever since launch, it's still not enough to get back to like the initial, all the tour gifts that were lost, all the everything that you could have gotten from those months and months of play. So yeah. I've actually reached ACR a couple of times during my new account. So thankfully, there were some tours where the courses just kind of worked out really, really, really well. Mm-hmm. And one of those was Paris Tour 2021, or in other words, Paris 3 Tour.
Right.
So there were a lot of free-to-play courses. If I remember correctly, I believe like Rock Mountain was there. I believe Remix Rainbow Road. There were a lot of ones that were a lot more free to play than like the newer courses of the time. So I had a lot of, it was a lot. I can remember one item specifically that was in a lot of courses that tour, the off-roader. I got that thing up really quickly because it had so many courses. It had such a high chance of helping me out. And that tour for ACR, it just, the stars aligned. Very, 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 barely. It took me so long to grind that out because those points for leveling up, I am currently almost level 83. And that is very low compared to almost everybody else in the game. And that is because I would only play the one tour at the time. So you can imagine how difficult reaching ACR really, really, really was. It was a challenge to say the least. And I sort of just treasure this screenshot I'm about to show. I really no-lifed the game.
Yeah.
I definitely played during school hours. There's no way that I played 12 hours that one day and not played during school hours.
Great.
You know, I don't do that anymore. I've set a little bit more of a boundary now on playing the game, but it was very, very, very difficult. And I'm so proud of myself. I got pretty lucky with a lot of those runs. Actually, I'm going to share this one story specifically because it was really interesting.
Okay.
Giant banana frenzies are really weird.
Okay.
So I used DK for, I believe it was Rock Mountain, or maybe it was Remix Rainbow Road, one of the two. So I could have a run where I get a triple banana frenzy, and then I could have another one, and just one of them will be the worth of a double coin frenzy. It would, whereas the other one is worth like more than 3 coin frenzies and equivalents. Like, it all depends on like where the bananas break and do they hit the CPUs. And it's very, very like random. I did not understand how weird giant banana frenzies are and how difficult it is to actually get high scores with them until doing ACR like that. Yeah. So as you can see, I think I even mentioned this earlier, but like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what's the difference between the top 1,000 cutoff? So you were at 976.3. Oh, sorry.
976.8.
976.8. And then what was the cutoff?
The cutoff was 975.5.
Oh my goodness. So like within like 1,300 of each other.
Yeah. That's basically a single coin box.
Oh, yeah.
So imagine not making ACR by a single coin box. That would be really, really unfortunate.
And that blows my mind.
I'm sure it happens. Oh my gosh.
Well, who did it happen to recently? Was it Sammy D?
Sammy D got like 103rd place.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, by just like 1,000 or so points.
Yeah, when he was going for top 100, he got 103rd.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome though. Congrats.
Mm-hmm.
See, I get so intimidated by that time dedication requirement.
I will say it is a lot different now than it used to be.
Yeah.
So the other time I reached ACR was during Mario versus Peach Tour.
Okay.
And maybe that's just because I lucked out with the Tokyo loadouts, but because that tour had every Tokyo track, it had all 3 of them. Well, 3 at the time.
Yeah.
It had it also had 3 RT. Maybe it had 4. I don't remember. Anyway, so it was a lot. The cutoffs were very. You can see that in that little span of tours, cutoffs aren't as extreme as they are today. I feel like even though these tours weren't actually that long ago, like they were only a few months ago, the cutoffs feel a lot higher today. And I don't even think it was really the courses that tour. I think it was just like the whales will be whales, but like I was surprised when I got 361. Now maybe I just had really, really good loadouts for that tour, but I don't know. I felt like the contrast between 976 and 1,022, it just didn't feel like a lot for that.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Do you think ACR is getting like the competitions raising, so it's going to be harder to get over time, or?
I would really argue that, honestly, especially with like how many times they're giving pink gold peach, like a pack and all this other stuff. That's an instant coin box that you basically need to have maxed out, or else you'll be behind.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a weird like thing to think about. Like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that's sort of just my journey. It was a very long-winded one, but that's sort of my journey with Mario Kart.
Yeah, no, that's way cool.
That's amazing.
So do you have a particular like favorite driver, kart, and glider in the game? Like one that you're like, I don't care about the coverage. Like I just absolutely love how this thing looks. I'm gonna put all my tickets on it just because I'm absolutely in love with it.
There are. Before my account got banned, that was Mario Happy. I put all of my tickets into Mario Happy. And, you know, of course, looking at that decision today, he's helped out a time or two. But they're really doing some of the older ones dirty.
Yeah.
Anyway, but in terms of like more recent era, I would definitely say the Vampire Wings and the Vampire Flyer.
Yeah.
And also Hello Waluigi, as you say. I actually really liked the Hello Waluigi term. I use that in mine every day now.
I love that. It flows nicely.
It does.
Hello, Waluigi.
Yeah, I noticed. So we're friends in the game, and I noticed when it first came out that you had slapped a bunch of tickets on those. I was like,
oh yeah.
Nice.
I have been saving up for the black Kabuki Dasher, which is also really cool. I love like the red and black aesthetic.
Yeah.
And so when that came out,
You're all in.
it went. I had saved up so much.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
going. I wasn't sure when the black Kabuki Dasher was coming back. I honestly don't know when it will. It wasn't even there during the Tokyo Mario versus Peach. So that had all the Tokyo variants. So I don't even when's it gonna come back? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe during New Year's. It was there during New Year's last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
One could always hope, right?
Yeah.
I'm definitely buying it if it's there.
Right.
There you go. So I know that right now, at the time of this recording, so technically we're still in the space tour.
Today's the day after Thanksgiving. But
Today's the
you
day
guys-
after
yeah.
Thanksgiving. However, Frenzy Fangirl and I are going to be out of town during the majority of the winter tour, or whatever it's called.
The holiday tour.
The holiday tour. So we're recording this early. But I'm curious to know your thoughts on what you think of so the new like trailer for the preview just got released today. Like what are your thoughts on the characters that are in there and like the carts and gliders and stuff? Have you had a chance to scope all that out?
Oh yeah, I've looked at it. This is sort of an unpopular, like I haven't really seen anybody else mention this, but Kamek showed up so many times in that it kind of made me think, is Kamek going to become a regular?
Oh, in the pipe?
Yeah,
Oh.
which they do usually do new characters. So like Nabbit, Dixie Kong, Funky Kong, all of like the new characters per se. Well, I guess Funky Kong's not a good example, but all of the new characters seem to be regulars. So I'm like, I don't know about that. And you know, they might, because Kamek's a coin box, they might make some money off of him, I guess. I don't know. It's Nintendo.
Yeah.
Mario. We'll figure it out, right?
Yeah.
But that was like my first thought. I was like, wow, he's in so many of the different like segments.
Yeah.
So there was one that kind of looked like the 50 pipe, but it also had him, which it felt kind of out of place, you know? Like it
Yeah.
had all the gold drivers, but then Kamek.
Yeah.
So
don't
that was something.
That wouldn't be because there's gonna be like Kamek Cup will be one of the ranked cups, would it?
That could be it.
It could be. So I remember when the Kamek Tour first came out and we were looking at all the races and all the cups and it said Kamek Cup. And I was like, wait a minute. The way that Nintendo has followed suit is whenever there's a cup of a specific character, that means that they are then like admitted into like the normal pipe. And so I was fully expecting that the very next tour that Kamek was going to be available as one of like the normal characters to be able to pull, because everyone else that has their cup, so like
Gold Peach.
because there's a Funky Kong Cup.
Yep.
There is Funky Kong Cup now. Yeah.
And that's when he was admitted into the pipe as a normal one. But then there are some other ones that like there isn't a Nabbit Cup, right?
Not yet. there's not a King Babam Cup. There's not quite a few.
Yeah. So it was interesting to see, I guess, that there was a cup of a certain player, but then them not being in the pipe. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
And
Of
you
course,
guys,
everyone watching this right now is going to be like, "Oh yeah, no, that totally didn't happen," or "Oh yeah, that totally did happen."
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, cool.
oh,
And okay, so personal question about Santa Bowser. Do you have Santa Bowser? Are you excited?
No. And I just spent a lot of my rubies because I was feeling lucky. So I was kind of expecting Santa Bowser to come during, Christmas time. So we'll see what happens.
How many
Yeah.
rubies are you at right now?
Oh, it's something really sad, like less than a tenfold. It's like 30. Yeah, actually 31. I have it up.
okay.
But that should be enough. I think I'll get my Gold Pass renewal gift and a couple other like good sources too. So
Cool.
Okay.
yeah.
So you'll have to let us know, because I'm curious, if you can pull him, if he's like, top loaded in the pipe, or he's,
Yeah.
if you end up getting him with minimal amount of rubies, I think definitely going to be cheering you on. Hopefully the pipes will be in your favor.
Hopefully. Yeah. Especially just because of how useful he's been for like everyone I've seen have him. Everyone leveled him up, and it paid off so much.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he has been good. If you have him and you leveled him up early, he's been very useful. There was a stretch there where for I think 3 or 4 tours, I was using him pretty much at least once, if not twice, in ranked, and
Yep.
he was just kind of like the unsung hero.
So in the tour preview, though, they didn't have a new holiday character. So it's going to be, the holiday tour is going to be 3 different, or the holiday, yeah, right? 3 different.
The holiday celebration.
Holiday
is gonna be
celebration is 3 different
tours,
tours.
right?
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So do you think that they are going to release another holiday character? And if so, what do you think it's going to be?
Ooh, that's a good question. They
Yeah,
kind of
right
have a
with that
lot of
one.
characters that you'd imagine would be like Yoshi, even Daisy. It would be really cool if Donkey Kong finally got an alt.
That'd be awesome.
I don't know what they would do with that. Maybe like a festive, I don't know, but that would be pretty cool. In terms of like what I think that's going to happen with the celebration, do you remember last time when we had like the summer festival and we've had like the autumn tour or the autumn tour celebration, stuff like that?
Yeah.
I predicted the city tour being the second part of that. So this is getting a little bit into the speculation territory, but with the way that those are usually set up, it's usually like the holiday tour and then a city tour and then a rally tour.
Yeah.
And if you look back at the because in the past we'd always, now they're not necessarily correlated, but whenever the expert challenges would end was whenever a new rally tour came about.
Yep.
And that lines up very perfectly if we think about that 3-course sequence.
Mhm.
Now I will say something else, and I really hope that this is not wrong because it would be really sad mostly. But recently a friend of mine named Trainax found a change in the files for the fire texture of Vancouver's what's it called?
Oh,
But
like
it
the
was a
monument?
change. Yeah, it was the change in the fire texture that's used in the Vancouver course. So got us thinking, oh, is Vancouver going to come back?
Yeah.
And that could be very, very cool after almost 2 years.
Have that be the city tour?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, I'd love
So
that.
those are just kind of my thoughts and why I'm kind of excited for what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Very cool. Huh. All right, so shifting gears a little bit, as far as shifting away from Mario Kart, I'm curious just to kind of get to know you a little bit better, just as a fellow Mario Karter. Tell us a little bit about like I don't know, like your favorite like what's your favorite food or restaurant? Is there some place that
I am a sucker for chicken.
Yeah.
Anything involving chicken is always really, really good to me.
okay?
I will die for a chicken burger. I will do anything for just anything involving chicken.
Okay.
So there are a few good places to get chicken. mostly just because it was so close to my house before. Chick-fil-A, of course.
Of course.
That was a guilty pleasure for sure. You know what? Honestly, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
There's
I love it.
any other place would have been like a restaurant that I like sit down at. It was more local. It was just, you know, anything involving chicken.
Makes you happy. Yes.
All right.
I love it.
Very cool. And how about like is there a TV series or like a movie that you've recently seen that you're like, oh man, this is so cool?
Ooh, yeah. So this is sort of more of like a documentary, but
Okay.
it was called The Great Hack, and it kind of talked about like how like Facebook and a couple other things were used to like influence people even like knowingly, and it was it was interesting to see like that perspective on things and just like learn a lot about like what goes into the process of like making like Facebook and stuff like that. So
yeah,
because what is that called, like social engineering?
Yeah, sort of. Well, yeah, kind of. But I think social engineering is more like targeted in the sense that, well, okay, yeah, I guess it was kind of targeted, but okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool.
That was just something I saw recently that just kind of like blew my mind, honestly.
Yeah.
It was just really interesting to see. I haven't watched a lot of TV shows recently. Like I was trying to think of a TV show at first or something, but
yeah,
honestly, I've been kind of busy with college.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So you said you're getting your degree in computer science, right?
Yeah.
So how long till you're done? Till you're graduating?
I'm a freshman, so I just started college.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm already taking like the class above, like I was kind of supposed to do. Like I had to get like the permission from my instructor in order to do it. So that was just kind of fun. I'm doing really well. I'm learning a lot, and I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. So
cool.
See, I'm definitely probably going to go until the end. We'll see what happens there. Just college is expensive.
It's so expensive, but man, if you can. With a mind like yours, I'm like, oh, you're gonna go places in life. That's awesome.
It's my passion, and that's what I think makes this the more exciting. And this is where I learn how to apply it in a professional stance. I can't hack Mario Kart for it. So,
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun.
So I'm curious, just going back to the movie thing, have you seen Snowden or any of the movies about him? And I feel like you would resonate with him a little bit more than like we enjoyed the movies, but I figure you probably get into it like on a whole nother level.
It's a lot, mostly just because of like the kinds of things that were talked about there. Like they just always really interest me. It's been a really long time since I've seen it, but yeah, actually, honestly, I don't really remember too much about it right now, but definitely like those things always pique my interest. It's super cool to me.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to me how ubiquitous technology is in our lives and how oblivious we are at the same time to how it can influence us for good or bad, and how there are certain individuals that try and shed some light on the situation, try and make sure that things are in check. Like just the way that the it's progressing at the speed of light, and it's really hard to keep up with everything. And I don't know, it's just very interesting to see how the world is forming and stuff right now. So
Indeed.
Yeah.
Totally.
So what about other things that aren't Mario Kart or computer science related? Are you pursuing like different talents, or do you have like different hobbies that are kind of like we wouldn't really peg you for? Like maybe you're a baseball player or something. I don't know. I
do have something I've been exploring more so recently than I have in the past. I'm a skier. Yeah. I totally love skiing, and I used to do it a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
But it wasn't as possible living in where I did, just because it was a lot warmer. But basically, now that I live so far north, I'm going to a college that's very close to Lake Erie. So like I'm very in like that lake effect snow area.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a lot of snow now, and I'm thinking I'm going to start doing a lot of skiing now that I'm here. So
that would be amazing.
I'm really happy to get back into that.
I'm jealous.
Snowboarding is really difficult, by the way. You fall a lot. It's like skiing, but you fall.
So I grew up skiing all the time. And I was in Vancouver, BC at Whistler when I switched from being a skier to a snowboarder. So every time I see the Vancouver tracks, I'm like, oh, it's like an homage to my youth, you know?
Yep. Oh my gosh. I totally feel that. Vancouver, hands down my favorite track. I think it's a lot of people's favorite track, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's actually really sad they never brought it back. But anyway.
So, little embarrassing story from Frenzy Fanboy here. I was born in Utah and grew up in Colorado. So like I've lived around the Rocky Mountains my entire, adolescent life up until I was 18. And truth be told, I've been skiing once and snowboarding once in my entire life. And both of them weren't very pleasant experiences. It was a lot of sore bums the next day. And whenever I tell people that, they're like, but you were so close, like you didn't have to get you didn't have to rent hotels, and it was probably a lot cheaper. It's true, but at the same time, like you always had to deal with traffic, like going to and from the ski slopes. And so it would always take like an entire day. And just the like friends, the group of friends that I was hanging out with, it wasn't really like big for them to do that. And I don't know, it just never really kind of popped up on the radar. So I've tried each once, but didn't take to it. And now I'm way too old. And now we live in the South where snow just doesn't exist. If there's like a 1/4 inch of snow on the ground here in Georgia, like everything shuts down for a week.
Yeah, it only happens like once every 4 years.
Yeah. It's a joke.
That makes sense.
Oh, well, this was so much fun having you. If you guys have not yet gone to his channel, it's going to be in the comments. Check it out. Is there anywhere that you would want to tell people to find you or how to communicate with you?
I guess the best way is from Discord. So actually in every single one of my videos, there's a link to my server. If you go there, you can find me pretty easily. So that's the easiest way for sure.
Awesome.
Very cool. Yeah, so usually we end videos with
my favorite part,
a thing that we're either thankful or grateful for. But during these Meet the MarioKarters, we like to give the opportunity to the MarioKarter that we're meeting to kind of give us like an example of something that recently you're thankful for or grateful for. So what do you think? Is there something recently? I know that like yesterday was Thanksgiving, so a lot of people are, have it on their minds right now, but.
Yeah, and also kind of in light of Thanksgiving, I'm actually really thankful for just my mom. She has opened up the doors for so many different opportunities for me in my life. She's always been there for me when I needed it. She always like helps me make the most of every moment too. So I sort of stay in the present kind of thing. And I was sort of reminded of that yesterday when we had a really, really long call for Thanksgiving. Just talking about like whatever was going on with us and how we've been since, I started college and blah, blah, blah. Well, overall, but you know what I mean? Yeah, so honestly, that was just super duper refreshing. I was so happy to have it.
I love it.
Mom, this video. Love you, Mom.
Oh, yeah. You'll have to let her know that you give her a shout out and have her watch the video.
Yeah.
That's way cool that you have a really good relationship with your mom. I've got a really good relationship with my mom too, and moms are the best, so keep that up. I know that like during college and stuff, it's always super hectic and time is, super valuable. So I'm sure she appreciates when you take time to reach out to her and, just kind of shoot the breeze and just be like, hey mom, like this is kind of what's going on. I'd be willing to bet it's probably the highlight of her day whenever you reach out to her. So
I hope so.
So that's way cool. I'm glad that you shared that as something that you're thankful for.
Absolutely. Oh, well, this was awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was a blast.
Totally. It was definitely really fun to just be able to talk with you guys and, speculate stuff and talk about what's been going on with us and that kind of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, we're looking
really happy to meet you guys for real.
Yeah.
Like, whoa, wow, I mostly just used to seeing you on videos, but now I get to talk with you.
Right. Yeah.
I was so happy a couple months ago when you guys were chatting was it on the phone or how were you guys chatting?
Yeah, we were voting on Discord.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You were showing me a lot of really cool stuff that you were working on with like projects and stuff. So That was way fun.
I was like, I can't wait till I get to meet him.
So yeah, definitely really nice to meet you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, I'm sure we'll have you on something again in the future because your skill set's incredible and you provide so much to the community. So we're just grateful for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I guess I should be grateful for you guys as well. Can't tell you how many times like I've been able to like throw your videos on while I'm working or something, and it just really helps like keep me like focused, I guess, weirdly. So
That's awesome.
totally. So thanks, guys.
Hopefully our banter and our silly sessions don't get you too distracted. There was one video a couple videos ago where we just started getting the giggles. I don't know what it was. I think it was like
it was the coin.
A ride along,
Yeah.
and we were like so excited when I hit like 3 coins in a row, and then like I just got the giggles, and it was ridiculous.
It's always a fun time.
Oh, sweet. Well, on that note, do you want to sign us off?
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining us, and thanks Hydra for joining us. And until the next video, may the frenzies be forever in your favor.
See you guys later.